You are either managing a team, running a business, or maybe you are a data professional looking to build a report for a business user. In any case, you face a common challenge. How do you make sense of all the data you have in a large table? How do you transform endless rows and columns into clear, actionable states you take without getting bogged down in complex functions? Well, what if I told you that there is a powerful little tool right within Google Sheets that can help you do just that, and it's called pivot tables. Hey there, I'm Yevgen. You are at our owoxbi YouTube channel where we speak all things about analytics, marketing, spreadsheets, and data manipulation. We're all about making your data work for you. Today, we're going to talk about pivot tables in Google Sheets. We'll explore how they can be your best ally in decoding tables, making your analysis not only faster, but also much more intuitive. I'll tell you the basics, plus I'll show you a few of the real-life use cases, how to quickly change the angle you explore your data, and much more. With this said, let's jump right in and master pivot tables together. Pivot tables is the first tool within Google Sheets when it comes to analyzing existing datasets by summarizing the data in a concise, tabular format. Basically, it's a built-in table from a table, but aggregating, filtering, and summarizing the data fast. Pivots are particularly helpful for anyone needing to quickly draw insights from a lot of information without using a lot of functions or extensive spreadsheet manipulations. Before we move to the practical demo of the pivot tables, here is just a quick breakdown of what pivot tables are used for and their basic functionality. Pivot tables are used to aggregate and segregate data, allowing users to draw comparisons, detect patterns, and identify trends easily. Just a quick note, I'm a left-brain kind of guy, so for me it's easier to get insights from the table with data rather than from a chart, just because that's how I read data. Numbers over visuals. But what are the pivot table benefits? First, it's speed. They make data analysis quicker than other techniques. Second, flexibility. You can modify the data structure by rotating rows and columns and adding more details to see different summaries with easy drag-and-drop interface. 3. Accessibility. Look, data analysis is not the easiest thing ever, but pivot tables are really accessible to everyone. There is no learning curve. You don't need any advanced formula skills or be a data genius. What is the basic functionality of pivot tables? Sure, the first thing people are using pivot tables for is data summarization. It allows for quick aggregation of large datasets without functions like sum, average, count, etc. Second, it allows to really make dynamic analysis. With just a few clicks, you can drastically change the data dimensions, rows and columns, and metrics, values, to explore different aspects of the same data. And by the way, we have a great video about metrics and dimensions, the difference, everything. I'll leave a link in the description to this video, but you can also find it right here. So, no matter you are a data professional or a regular spreadsheet user, you can insert pivot tables to transform just basic tabular data into insights with just a few clicks. And yes, it's even faster and more stable than asking ChatGPT or another AI solution to analyze your data. The foundation of any effective pivot table analysis is well-organized data before you pivot. You need to ensure your dataset has clear, descriptive headers for each column. This makes it easier to select and manipulate your data within the pivot table. For this practical demonstration, I will use a sales dataset that tracks details like date, state, sales rep, product name, its brand, the number of units sold, as well as the total price. To insert a pivot table in Google Sheets, select the data you want to analyze. Navigate to the menu, choose Insert, then Pivot Table. Let's just quickly change the data range here. I'll specify A2 to G. That is always a good practice, so we get all of the future data inside the pivot as well. Now, let's decide whether to place your pivot table in a new sheet or an existing one. By default, it's in U tab, but you may want to keep your analysis tidy on the same tab as your data. Now, let's set up our pivot table to analyze our sales data. Let's analyze our data by brand. Add brands to the rows section to see sales breakdown by product. Rows categorize your data vertically. You will see that in a moment. We'll skip the column section for now, but basically columns spread your data across horizontally. Next, let's add values. Include units sold in the values section. This is where your numbers go. This will summarize the total units sold by brand. You can also see totals here. There are the sums or averages if you select so at the end of your rows or columns, giving you a quick snapshot of key totals to enhance overall understanding and comparison. You can see this row number 2 here, which is empty. That is because we have included empty rows in the pivot table data range. Let's take them off by applying filters. We need to add the filter to any of the columns. I'll do it for the date column by basically saying is not empty. Continuing with our pivot table configuration, let's dive a bit deeper into our sales data by exploring it from different angles to gain more insight. To get a more detailed breakdown of where and by whom sales are being made, let's add state to the rows section right above brand. Now we need to do some sorting. We'll sort both of the rows by the sum of units sold descending. This way, we can see which states are performing best and how brands perform within each state. To see how individual sales representatives are performing across different brands, let's now add sales rep to the column section. We'll sort it also by the sum of units sold descending. And we need to select grand total over here. We can also see how the sorting of the rows has been changed to the grand total. This layout helps us identify top performance and underperformance at a glance across different brands and states. We can also remove the checkbox here to remove the totals, or we can add the rows labels to each of the rows. Next example. While we've looked at the units sold, it's also important to understand the revenue perspective. First, let's move the sales rep to the rows section and remove the state for now. Now, let's add total price to the values section. Please check that the aggregation is set to sum. Let's also change the sorting to the total price field. This will provide us with the total sales amount generated by each sales rep, further broken down by brand. Or you can easily change the order between the sales rep and the brand. We can also add the state to the column section. Looks a bit messy, right? When the table becomes too cluttered, we can create a more compact view by moving state from columns to rows, placing it under the sales rep. This hierarchical view makes it easier to navigate through the data and reduces the horizontal space usage. Next, suppose we want to focus on a particular time frame or a specific set of products. We can use the filter function to refine our data. For instance, let's add a filter for date to only include sales for this year. Let's see how cleaner it is now, but really actionable. That's cool. Or we can just apply the filter to the product name column to analyze only a specific product like jacket. To compare the quantity of products sold with the revenue they generated, we might want to divide the total price by the number of units sold attributed to each specific row. We can add a calculated field here to the values. And we'll just type in equals total price in single quotes divided by units sold. Again, we use the single quotes here. This setup helps us analyze not only the volume of sales but also the price impact on the revenue for each product. Look, by twisting and turning out data through these various configurations, we are able to extract a myriad of insights from a single simple dataset. This dynamic analysis capability is what makes pivot tables an indispensable tool for data-driven decision-making. Each pivot structure we create can answer different business questions from performance tracking to detailed sales insights. Visualizing data with pivot charts. For those of you who prefer a visual representation, converting our pivot table data into a chart is a great way to see trends and outliers. Let's scale our pivot a bit back. I'll remove some stuff from here, leaving only a sales rep, units sold, and the total price. Then simply click on the pivot table, choose Chart from the Insert menu, and select the chart type that best represents the data we want to visualize. I will use a bar chart for our sales rep performance diagram. I'll change the date range to take the grand total row out. Then I'll change the axis for the units sold series in the customization settings. Let me also share with you some handy tips and tricks for getting the most out of the pivot tables in Google Sheets. Tip number 1. Changing aggregation types. Not all data needs a simple sum. Depending on what you are analyzing, you might need averages to understand trends, counts to tell occurrences, or even max, min to find extremes. For example, average aggregation is great for understanding typical values, while counting might be perfect for tracking the frequency of sales transactions. Tip number 2. Defining ranges. As your data on the original data tab grows, your pivot table needs to adapt. Instead of constantly updating the range, set your pivot tables to dynamic ranges. This can be done exactly as we've done earlier by removing the row number from the range. Just keep the letter names of the columns like A to G. Tip number 3. Optimizing performance. Large datasets can slow down your pivot tables to enhance performance. Try to limit the scope of your data by filtering out unnecessary parts before creating the pivot table. Just leave the columns you need or so. Also, keep your pivot tables in separate sheets to reduce the processing load on a specific single tab. These strategies help you maintain a smooth and efficient experience with pivot tables in Google Sheets. By adjusting your approach to fit the complexity and size of your data, you can keep your analysis sharp and your sheets responsive. But if performance is still an issue, consider using Google BigQuery to store your data and handle large datasets more efficiently. When you do this, you'll then be able to use Google Sheets as a window to your corporate data. That's exactly how we help businesses at Owox. You'll be able to get your data into a spreadsheet, always on time, automatically updated, with or without specific SQL knowledge. We've developed it to be a place for data collaboration between data and business teams to make data accessible to everyone. And there you have it. In this video, we've explored the capabilities of pivot tables in Google Sheets, showing you how to transform a lot of tabular data into clear, actionable piece of visual with numbers. We've covered everything from the basics of setting up pivot tables to more advanced techniques like dynamic ranges and calculated fields, giving you the tools to enhance your data analysis significantly. I encourage you to apply those techniques to your own data. The more you practice, the more proficient you will become at uncovering the hidden gems in your data. If you found this video helpful, give me a thumbs up and dive into your data. Experiment with new pivot table configurations and keep discovering new insights. Whether you are a marketer analyzing campaign effectiveness, a sales manager tracking performance across regions, or just someone who loves to organize data efficiently, pivot tables can grow your productivity and increase decision-making capabilities. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, enable notifications to stay updated with our latest tutorials, all designed to empower your analytics journey. Thanks for watching. I'm Yevgen from Owox, and remember, every pivot table you create is a step towards better decisions. So keep pushing the boundaries of what you can do with your data, stay data curious, keep spreadsheeting, and as always, happy analyzing!